Good morning, you all. Welcome to this presentation on unlocking the future of agentic AI in industrial knowledge fabric. So my name is Rajesh Gamatam. I'm a principal solutions architect and lead for AWS Industrial Data Fabric solution. I am joined by my colleagues from Tri-Diagonal, Kevin Kapsey, who's a VP of Tri, and also Parth, who's the head of generative AI. So in this talk, we are going to be talking about how Tri-Diagonal has been revolutionizing industrial operations with an agentic AI system and industrial data fabric, data foundation. So first, let me set this context. So as we all know, in the industrial setting, we have got a lot of different kinds of data. It's no longer sufficient to just get the raw data alone, but we need to have the context associated with the assets. So to enable that possible, we at AWS, we have a solution called Industrial Data Fabric, which is a framework which is powered by both AWS services as well as partner solutions. So what we are able to do is we are able to enable customers to create the enterprise level, domain level models from where customers can easily create different solution level models for different use cases rather than recreating those pipelines. So with that, what customers are able to do now is to able to create the industrial knowledge graph where we will have interrelationship between the assets, processes, and its interdependencies. Now with this, the domain level models, customers can create different agentic AI systems. So in this example, what we are showing is an intelligent orchestration system which is powered by agentic AI from AWS as well as industrial knowledge graph. At the center is the industrial knowledge graph where we are ingesting data not only from time series data, but also from other data such as SAP and much more. And from there, with this particular foundation, we have different agentic AI systems which are experts in a specific task. And they are not working in a silo. They all work together to have a common stream of data for critical processes, assets, emission control, maintenance, and much more. And from there, we can have an intelligent orchestration system for the entire process. With that, I will hand it over to Praveen, who will be talking about Tri-Diagonal's Agentic AI Accelerators, where it has been deployed at many customers to make customers successful. Praveen?
Thank you, Rajesh. You know, one thing people always ask, okay, what's the difference between traditional AI, Gen AI, and now Agentic AI, okay? So we always, know that traditional AI has been definitely addressing a lot of challenges in the industry, whether it is pattern-based models, physics-based models, machine learning models, and so on and so forth, right? But how do you really, compare traditional AI models and Gen AI, right? So I always try to give this analogy of left brain and right brain. If you really see, right, we have these two hemispheres, left and right. The left one is logical, it's analytical, right? It works on a structured data, for example. And the right one is creative, intuitive, right? Now, if you really try to bring this analogy, right, to the industrial AI frameworks, how does it look like, right? So the left one is definitely the traditional AI, which works on a structured data, okay? So it's logical, deterministic. It needs, for example, the structure kind of a data. And the right one, of course, is more subconscious, right? The human thinking, right, or the human knowledge is also a kind of unstructured data, for example. How do we really tap, right, that unstructured data? And with the combination of left and right, really have that comprehensive kind of insights, which now traditional AI plus agentic AI can provide, right? For example, you have a model which detects the vibrations in a turbine, okay, and the LLM-powered agent that will basically not only use this vibration data, but it will also look into the SAP historical failure data. It will also look into the unstructured data and try to give you a different kind of an insights, right? That's exactly you enhance, right, your industrial AI today, okay, with a combination of this, and then combining the logic-driven AI with, the knowledge-driven intelligence. Now, what is required for, to build these agentic AI frameworks, right? And we always talk about context-aware AI, because unstructured data brings that context. Structured data brings you certain insights from your existing machines. So from isolated data point, like Rajesh mentioned, industry knowledge, fabric, for example, that's the first component, which really help you to bring the data together, right? And then how do you take that, siloed data in an integrated manner, and then try to build, for example, the agents. So, for example, right, it's a good thing is, on the left-hand side, you say, is data to knowledge. That journey, I think IDF has really covered, right, where you get access to multiple data sources, right, in an unified way. So that is the first step. But when it comes to the agentic AI, right, you really need to have, that knowledge fabric, right, that contextualizations, right. So once I have the unified data, how do I provide the context to that? That's the very, very important part of it, right? So that's exactly the industry knowledge fabric enables, which is nothing but the brain of the agentic AI. Okay. So, for example, right, when I talk about the context-aware AI, right, there are three major components to it. The first one is the domain knowledge modeling, right, because you need an agent who can perceive different shapes and forms of data. In manufacturing, we know, right, we work on SAP, we work on time series, we work on documents, and so on and so forth, right? So there has to be an agent which understands, right, and which perceives these different shapes and forms of data. That is the first step. Second is actually contextualization. We always talk about RAG, right, retrieval augmented generation, but with context, right, that's where we are able to build KAG models, right, which is knowledge augmented, generative models, which enables the reasoning capability of your agents, right? So that is the second component. And the third and most important one is, of course, the wisdom path, right? How would agent traverse through those multiple shapes and forms of data and get you that information, okay? So that's exactly the wisdom path which is being created by the knowledge graph, okay? So if you really see, these are the three components which are part of this industry knowledge fabric, which is very, very essential for your agents to be successful, right? With zero hallucination, for example, right? So what we have done is, we have captured these three components, okay, and try to package this in a form of, knowledge accelerators. And that's exactly what we are launching today, okay, which is this combination of all these three components. And, which part is going to showcase a quick demonstration of exactly what knowledge accelerators are. But all these three components are basically codified. We have developed this using AWS services, okay, and which really helps accelerate the agent's reasoning capacity or power of, reasoning as well as intelligence, okay. So maybe with that, I'll hand it over to Parth, who can talk about a framework first and then give you a quick demonstration as well.
Great. So, when it comes to industry, like Praveen and Rajesh mentioned, it's mostly about different type of data sources, not just, siloed across different systems, but also, residing in different shapes and format. For example, all the ones that you see on the, left side. And, what we have done is we have created or we have encapsulated the entire agentic framework, where it's not replacement of your existing solutions. It's in fact an addition on top of your, all of your existing AI/ML workloads. So, for example, you will have one of your, machine learning model which is already running. The prompts goes into the industrial prompts, where we have different capacity of prompts which are templatized. They have preconceived notions about what your end use case or requirement could be like. Now this prompts goes into the agents. Now all these agents are, set of multi-agent systems, where the configuration would really depend on, what the end use case is. It could be in parallel, in series. Really, it depends on your end objective. But all these prompts are, knowledge augmented. It's not a typical RAG where it will just retrieve the information, but it will have a preconceived knowledge about the industry, about the data, what your SAP PM module would look like, right? What your time series data or sensor for a heat exchanger, for a compressor would mean, and it has that know-how. And we all know, like, the entire agent needs to perform the actions. It's not just a chatbot. And in order to perform the action, you need AI tools or first principle tools. And these are some of the tools which we have already created, configured. We keep on building those, but this is how the entire agentic applications or framework, run behind the demo, which I'm going to present. So we'll jump to the demo. Yeah. So we are launching our knowledge accelerator today. The whole idea is what we just saw in our previous sessions. It has a lot of insights. We have our agent, AV, right? Her job is to keep a track of your daily routine operations coming from different data again. But you start with configuration of your own agents. Every application, every end use case would have a language model, so you can select. We have already pre-configured language models like Bedrock APIs. You can select those, any of the existing foundation models. Once you do those settings, then you move to next, which is knowledge graph, which is the entire knowledge behind our solution. In knowledge graph, you have a couple of options like Neo4j, you have Neptune, Amazon Neptune, you also have Cognite. But the moment you make those selections, that's the only thing as a setting that you have to do, by the way. The moment you do this, your knowledge graph, the entire knowledge graph of your industrial data is there without any complex transformation which you have to perform. Because, for example, like SAP, it's very complex. Someone who is the end user of SAP sees very different thing, and someone who is configuring the SAP is looking at very different thing. And we have built our agents, which is culmination of all these different user personas. And these are some of the applications or some of the data sources, industrial data, that you may want to connect to. Our agents, Knowledge Accelerator, has know-how of how SAP data would interact with maybe your time series data, how this entire combined data would interact with your operating manual, and so on and so forth. But yeah, even PNIDs, when it comes to manufacturing operations, flow of the operations, flow of the materials from different sections, different unit or equipment is very important. And that's where we have, pre-configured all of those in the part of the solution. This is what, you'll get to see once you click on the execute and the entire knowledge graph is ready. It will have the know-how of the hierarchy of your organization. You may have multiple sites, multiple sections, multiple lines, and the entire hierarchy is all set. It's a lot of metadata which represents your process would also be configured here. And once it's done, this is the GPT interface, where we have categorized those at the workflow level, like maintenance is a part of workflow, then safety, sustainability, quality, or general process questions. You can ask any question. For example, here we just asked, what's the performance of my heat exchanger? And for heat exchanger, it will provide you the, the entire outcome as a part of recommendations, what's happening at the current state, why did it happen, and what needs to be done to correct that if that was an anomaly. Not just that, in fact, you can use it for your own root cause analysis. Imagine there are so many types of failure modes that happens across your fleet of assets within your site, and tracking and tracing the failure modes for each of those assets becomes impractical many a times, and it's a tedious exercise because you have to look into so many types of data. Now with this, you can actually just ask certain questions and it will help you with that. And for some reason, let's say the GPT application, the chat application is not sufficient, then you can build your own agent too. You may have your plant operators, end users, which maybe following very specific workflows or actions on daily basis, on routine basis. And you can configure your own agents where we already have the knowledge available of your entire industry, of your site. You can build, you can use drag and drop features and functionalities to stitch it all together and generate the actions. And once you do this, you just have to deploy this. Once it's built, you'll find it in your personalized workspace where you can have the entire applications for different user personas. But yeah, this is something that we have just launched. Anyone who is further interested, we'll be happy to showcase you a detailed demo on this. Yeah, sorry. Right. Maybe you want to take?
So we have been working very closely with AWS, the manufacturing team. All this, accelerators, what we have launched, it is already available on the AWS marketplace now. Okay, and this is how we are going, right? Using various services of AWS, whether it is IoT site-wise, for example, or industry data fabric components, right? Their Bedrock and so many other functionalities. So this knowledge accelerators is built on top of it. It's available, as I said, on the marketplace. There are a lot of agentic AI applications already available. For example, we have Insighto, we have emissions ops, we have Plant GPT, we have AI lifecycle management, for example, for monitoring all your models which are already deployed, and so on and so forth, right? We continue to build these libraries of applications, right, and put it on the marketplace of AWS. As a company, Triangle Solutions, right, we come with a strong process industry background. We do digital transformation consulting, right from your data to advanced analytics, process optimization, generative AI. And on the right-hand side, that's what the solutions which we have launched today. Okay, so that's a background of the company. This is just a reference architecture. I know we can definitely discuss this in our booth. We are just next door here, booth number 33. But this is how the architecture looks like, so, which is kind of a reference architecture which has been tried. But yeah, I think that's what we wanted to showcase you today, but happy to take questions.